Chronic illnesses in children. What can educators do to help? Looking around your classroom, would you know if any of your students suffered from chronic illness? Even though many symptoms of illnesses are small enough to go unnoticed, they may dramatically impact your student's life. So what exactly is a chronic illness? A chronic illness is a condition which one must deal with for his or her entire life. These are becoming much more common since many illnesses that previously killed children have become non-fatal, requiring extensive, sometimes lifelong management. Children with these illnesses require monitoring, interventions aimed at preventing complications, and high-intensity acute care for severe episodes. Additionally, they are at risk for permanent physical and developmental impairments, so intervening in a timely fashion is critical for maintenance and long-term prognosis. Some chronic illnesses include, but are not limited to, diabetes, epilepsy, congenital heart disease, muscular dystrophy, POTS syndrome, and childhood cancer. Chronic illnesses also include autoimmune diseases, including but not limited to lupus, Crohn's disease, anemia, Graves' disease, celiac disease, Guillain-Barré syndrome, and rheumatoid arthritis. These are often accompanied by other conditions, such as fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome. Autoimmune conditions rarely come alone, particularly if diagnosed in a later stage or if treatment was delayed for any reason. This was my own experience with celiac disease, which led to various neurological complications as well as symptomatic forms of Crohn's disease and rheumatoid. So why do you need to know all this? Educators are among those responsible for ensuring the best possible quality of life for all students, but most school policies aren't designed to support those with chronic illness. With limited knowledge and resources, even the most well-intended teachers and administrators are forced to respond to health episodes in ways that create educational barriers for the student. While federal legislation guarantees children with disabilities a free and appropriate public education, children with chronic illness do not yet fit into any established programs. When funds are determined, these completely eligible children are overlooked. So how does a chronic illness affect one's education? The first glaring issue is attendance. Due to a disproportionate amount of sick days and appointments, children with chronic illness are viewed as attendance anchors, holding schools back from reaching the 92% attendance required for adequate yearly progress. The fear of not achieving this figure drives many schools to legally withdraw students from the district when they have an appointment or treatment. This is usually done entirely without parental notification and is even done for same-day appointments. When parents are notified, they must either agree to the withdrawal or face truancy charges. Students who are not withdrawn are usually held back or told to drop out entirely. Many resort to homeschooling, but not only does this provide the student with an average of less than an hour of schooling per day, such instruction is frequently dependent on volunteer teachers who do not meet the standards for school licensing. Most homebound students may as well not be taught at all. Another thing that affects the education of chronically ill students is anxiety. Anxiety results from the perception of dangerous stimuli, or from feeling a lack of control over one's circumstances. Both things that children facing chronic illnesses must deal with as they endure flare-ups and complications, medical procedures and treatments, reduced ability to control their environment, heightened stress levels of caregivers, social rejection by peers, and in the case of worsening conditions, heightened fear of death. Students who have had the illness for a longer period of time may have adapted in a way that reduces such anxiety, but that may not be the case for progressive or worsening conditions. And not only does illness affect anxiety, anxiety also affects illness. So what can teachers do to help? Whether the child is in elementary school or close to graduating, open communication between teacher and student about the illness is crucial for academic success. Teachers should become familiar with the nature of the illness as well as the nature of the child, remembering that the two are not synonymous. As far as attendance goes, students should not simply be withdrawn from schooling or thrown into remediation. Instead, take the time to work with the student and develop a plan specific to his or her needs. This will also help you prepare for any illness-related issues that may arise. Teachers can also be aware of the culture of the chronic disease community. In this community, someone with a chronic disease is called a Spoonie. This comes from the spoon theory, which originally appeared on ButYouDon'tLookSick.com, an informational support group. This theory is used to explain the feeling of chronic illness to a normie, a non-Spoonie, and it explains what it's like for someone who must constantly live with their illness and accept their body's limitations accordingly, using spoons as metaphors for units of energy. Spoonies have taken on internet culture as well, putting a personal spin on popular memes. Being aware of this as a teacher and encouraging students to ally themselves with people who are undergoing similar struggles while also educating those who aren't will not only build trust between you and the student, but will help the student to thrive both academically and socially.